Hello, this is Catherine from Accelerated Reader. Today I will be reading Two Worlds, a novel of Friends and Foes from Strange Places by Laura T. Lee, Chapter 20. Before I begin reading, I would like to give a big thanks to the author for sending me this book to read on my channel. In the description below, I have included links where you may find and purchase this book. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 20. Tara, Stacy, and Lily walked past the piles of dust down the small corridor made of dirt. Lily kept looking up at the ceiling, afraid it would collapse on top of them. 10 minutes later, the tunnel opened up into a cavernous chamber filled with more dust. "I don't understand," Stacy said. "There should be something down here. I think it was an eon-old map to get back outside." "There's some eon-old dirt in here," Lily offered. Tara kicked the nearest pile and it exploded in a cloud of dust. "We're never going to get out of here," she said. "Hey guys, what's that?" Lily had spotted the thin outline of a rectangle made of light. They crossed over to it. "I think that's our exit," Stacy said. "Right," Tara said. "Stand back." She backed up, ran at the wall, and did a high kick while jumping up into the air. A section of dirt crumbled and daylight streamed through the gap. Unfortunately, the rest of the chamber started to disintegrate too. Chunks of dirt began to fall from the dirt ceiling, smashing into piles of dust. A big piece of dirt fell and crashed into the largest of the dust piles. Poof! A massive cloud of dust flew up and settled all over the chamber. Coughing, Stacy desperately began to widen the hole in the wall, breaking off chunks of dirt with her hands. With the help of Lily and Tara, the hole was soon wide enough for them to go through. Lily clambered through the gap, closely followed by Tara and Stacy. They got out not a moment too soon. 1 second after Stacy's foot had left the chamber, the room collapsed, sending a giant wave of dust through the air. When the dirt stampede finally ended, Lily was covered head to toe in a layer of dust. It would take 1,000,000 years to get all that dirt off her face. She opened her mouth to speak and swallowed a gallon of dust. She spat on the ground and groaned. Fid DeFazio led Jake to a door hidden behind a wall made of assorted glass containers. The tiny elf kicked a bottom jar, and the whole wall fell over. Amazingly, none of the jars shattered. "Plastic wall," Fid explained. He pulled open the door. The door led to a world of dangerous collectibles. Tables and tables were piled with weapons. Hopefully, deactivated bombs, and many other deadly gadgets. Jake happened to glance to his right and saw a familiar-looking sword. He picked it up from the table it rested on. "My sword," he said. "You had it all these years." He still remembered the day he dropped it in a piranha-infested lake after tripping over a rock. And now, 20 years later, here it was. "Yep," Fid said. Jake pointed his sword at him. "Did you steal all these weapons from elfin warriors?" he asked. "No," Fid answered, but afterward he fidgeted around whenever Jake glanced at a peculiar weapon. Jake grabbed a sheath from yet another table. "Are we there yet?" he asked. "I don't know," Fid said, his raspy voice dripping with sarcasm. "In fact, I have absolutely no idea why you came." Ow! Jake kicked Fid in the butt with his foot. "You know perfectly well why I came here," he said. "Stop fooling around." As Fid hopped around and whined like a sad puppy, Jake suddenly saw an old, beaten-up wooden box lying on the floor. Before Fid could yell, "What are you doing?" he snatched up the container and pried it open. Carefully enclosed in dark gray velvet was one long pill. "The pill of poison," he said. Jake turned to Fid. Millennia ago, one of the ancient elf leaders ordered a dwarf to create a pill for everlasting magic. The chosen dwarf made the pill, but the builder gave it a completely different purpose. When inserted into a special slot in a dwarf vault, a specialized gas would spread across the world, wiping out all elves. He turned the box upside down, and the pill clattered to the floor. Jake picked it up and tossed it into the nearest trash can. But the elf leader didn't trust the dwarf anyway, so he had it destroyed and put a plastic pill in the box. He left without any further conversation. As soon as Jake had exited Fid's shed of a house, he slammed the door, which was a mistake. Several dwarves appeared across the building, alerted by the loud noise. Jake ran toward the forest, ducking under trees and surfing toward where he thought the battlefield was. 5 minutes later, he came out of the forest, looked in front of him, and groaned in frustration. He had somehow managed to run in the exact opposite direction of the battlefield. He could tell because there was smoke and the roar of fighting rising above the gray undergrowth and trees. Jake was standing on a hill. Below him stretched a very unimpressive barren landscape. Dried-up bushes lay on the rock-hard dirt. A rustling sound startled him. He turned. A tree branch had broken off, and it lay on the ground. Jake turned his back to the forest and faced the barren landscape to take a rest. Little did he know he was about to have one of the biggest surprises of his life. Stay tuned for chapter 21. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In the description below, I have included links where you may find and purchase this book.